Hey, it is Kenny for Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for viewing my channel. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. This is going to be a really quick video. In this video, I'm going to compare the legendary Miles Davis Sketches of Spain record. We're going to compare, at least my opinion, of the comparison between the stereo version of the record and the mono version of the record. I'm going to give my opinion in terms of at least what I think sounds more pleasing to my ears. For this comparison, just so you know, I'm using the Columbia 6i stereo version of the record. And I'm comparing that with the Columbia 6i mono version of the record. Now, this was a very interesting comparison. It really was. It was a joy listening to both of them. They both have something great to offer. I'm going to get into that in this video. Just real quick, just so you know what I used to do this comparison. On the stereo side of things, I use a Riga P8 turntable with a Feta 3 cartridge. And on the mono side, I used a Technics SP15 turntable with an Audio-Technica AT33 mono cartridge. Now, near the end of the video, I'm describes a very important aspect of the differences between those two setups, and it's very important, especially the cartridges. I'm gonna get to that at the end of this video. My phono preamp is a West WHEST 0.20 phono stage. My preamp I use for this comparison is a Pass Labs X2 preamp. My amplifier is a tube amplifier. It's a Balanced Audio Technology VK60 tube amplifier. So that was the equipment I used for this comparison. Now, I first listened to the stereo record, and I was quite pleased and quite satisfied and quite entertained by the stereo version of the record. It was, I liked the stereo spread. I like how Miles Davis at times seemed like I was listening to it because of the ambience, the three-dimensional ambiance. I was listening to a concert, maybe around the 10th row, with great separation. You can, that, the percussion, the maracas type of sound, and the orchestra seemed very well spread for early stereo record. It really, really did. I was quite pleased with the stereo recording. And, Miles Davis, like I said, I like the ambience that the stereo recording, stereo record created. It was very, at least on my system, with my speakers, very three-dimensional, very spread out. It was for early, like I said, for early stereo recording, I thought it was exceptionally well done. And I was quite pleased with the stereo version of it. I really was. And I said to myself, after listening to stereo, I said mono has its work cut out for him, because I don't think the mono could top that one. I mean, that stereo record, to me, is a very outstanding early stereo record, in my opinion. And then I listened to the mono. I said, the mono got his work cut out for him. And then I listened to mono, and I was like, oh man, oh man, that mono was something else times 10. I mean, compared to the stereo, I felt that Miles Davis was more in the room. There was more of a directness, more of a genuine sound to his trumpet. Same with the bass, same with the percussion, same with the orchestra. It seemed more in the room and genuine and real with the mono, even though it occupied a smaller space than the stereo. There was more of a beautiful musical texture to the instruments. The instruments sounded more genuine, more of an original artifact than the stereo did. The stereo, in comparison, sounded more distant and more thin. What I mean by thin, more treble intensive, in my opinion. Sound more treble intensive, where the mono, it was more, you can hear the genuineness and uniqueness and the realism of the bass when the bass player was playing. Like I said, Miles' trumpet seemed more rich and more, it sounded like a real trumpet. On the other hand, the stereo, I like the stereo spread. I really enjoyed the stereo spread. I enjoyed the, you know, a percussion instrument being close to the left speaker, and Miles Davis at times being, you know, maybe more closer to the center, maybe to the left of the center of the sound stage. I like the spread and the dimensionality of the stereo mix. I really do. It really has a lot to offer, especially when the orchestra and band was playing together. I really enjoyed the stereo mix and the separation. The stereo has a lot to offer, but yet again, the mono mix has a lot to offer, because even in the mono mix, the band and the orchestra was more genuine to me. It really, really was. But in this comparison, sometimes I pick a winner and that I think sounds better. To me, it's almost virtually a tie. It depends on, because this is one of those early stereo recordings that I think was done well, in my opinion, for an early stereo recording. And some, I think, may like the separation of the instruments, and especially when you play it loud. I enjoyed the separation of the instruments, but I like the genuine feel of the sound of the instruments in a mono. So in this comparison, I'm literally going to say they both sound great. It depends on your mood, and it depends on the volume setting and stuff like that. When you play the stereo version loud, it sounds spectacular, but so does the mono. But like I said, if you want like the in-your-face jazz club version of this record, even though this big band's not going to fit in the jazz club, but if you do, I'd go for the mono. If you want like more of a concert hall version of the record, I might opt for the stereo. I think this is one of those cases where there is no winner, there's no loser. They're both great. I would recommend them both. These are the only versions well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I have this Columbia 2-eye of stereo Sketches of Spain. And I think you have several other versions, but I don't have a modern version like from Mobile Fidelity or anything to compare it to. And I'm going to have to do something about that in the near future. Maybe there's some better records sonically that are better than these two. I also have 2 high-res digital downloads of this of mono and stereo, and they yielded similar results, where the mono was more in your room, the stereo was more spread. The mono was more in your room like a jazz club. The stereo was more spread out like a concert hall. I think they're both outstanding, and I like them both. I'm not going to, if I had to pick a winner, it's just too difficult. They're both fabulous to me. And I recommend them both. Of this magnificent record, arranged and conducted by the great Gil Evans. This is a masterful and marvelous stereo and mono record, and I actually recommend them both, to be honest with you. Like I said, if you want an immediacy and a more in-your-face, a more genuine performance, go for the mono. If you want like a concert hall type of performance, good spread, good ambience, good three-dimensionality, go for the stereo. I'd go for both because I think they both have something to offer. Please leave your comments in the comment section below on this mono and stereo comparison of Sketches of Spain, this legendary Miles Davis, Gil Evans collaboration. Please leave your comments in the comments section below. Thank you very much for viewing my video. God bless, strong love. Keep the I forgot to bring up one thing. The point I was going to make about the cartridges is it's an unfair fight in some regards, because my Riga P8 turntable with a Feta 3 cartridge is approximately $2,200 cartridge, whereas my Technics SP15 turntable has an AT33 mono Audio-Technica cartridge, but that's a $300 cartridge. Could you imagine if I had a budget of $2,200 to buy a mono cartridge, how more grand and more excellent, how more vivid that mono could sound if I had a budget of $2,200 for the mono cartridge. That's a very important distinction, in my opinion. But please leave your comments in the comment section below. Thank you very much for viewing my video. God bless, strong love, and keep the peace worldwide.